Okay, the first step we want to do is remove the shoulder. And the nice thing about removing the shoulder, it's really not attached to the body except with little muscle tissue and ligament. And it just comes right off. And that whole thing can be boned out for burger meat. And that's off. Now this deer was shot a little high above the neck here. The next step you want to go to is the sirloin tip. And the nice thing about it, it's already pre-marked for you. If you look, you can see a seam. And all you have to do is go right below that knuckle and follow the seam. Just come straight in, you'll hit the bone, come down the bone, and come out at about a 45-degree angle. And that is your sirloin tip. And we will peel the outside of that off, and what you'll have is a beautiful piece of meat. Very simple, very quick, very easy. The next step you're going to want to do is a little bit more difficult, but not too hard. You're going to want to remove this back ham section. The first cut will be just below this ligament. You want to leave some extra tissue so the deer doesn't fall on the ground. Just come straight into the back of the bone and follow it around both sides. And then you'll see the femur on the front. And you just want to trim that out. Just use the tip of your knife about an inch. And what it'll do is it'll separate that from the bone. Then right here by the tail section, free that up with about 3 or 4 inches of your blade. Just keep right next to the tail. Turn it around, and we are going to remove this right down following the path you can see there, right down next to the tail. This is the start of your loin, so we're not going to get into that. The tailbone sticks out, so go right around the tailbone. Work it free. And all that will just fall away. Now what's in here is your sirloin, and your sirloin's actually right here, so you don't want to cut through that. All this will fall away, and that is your top round, your bottom round, your eye round, and this is your sirloin. And that's what we'll trim out. Now the last piece is the most sought after piece, your back loin, and it's really simple. You just run your knife down the backbone, straight into the neck meat, then come back to the top, and what you're going to do is start to scoop it out. And you want to stay right next to the back. It's kind of hard to get started at times. Once you get it going, it'll come right out. Be careful not to gouge into it too much. But you can see what we're doing is we're going down and we're running right across the backbone. We're not worried about getting way out here because there's nothing out there. And this will run down for about another 4 or 5 inches, and then it tapers out into the neck meat. And if you want to, you can go ahead and trim into the neck meat and take a little bit of that with you because it'll all pull off. As you can see, this deer was shot right through here. And a good rule of thumb, when you find meat that's been shot through, when in doubt, throw it out. It's not worth saving. You want to cut off at least a couple inches on both sides of a shot mark. And that right there, believe it or not, is the majority of a boned out animal. The rest of it is what we call trim meat. And you can remove as much of that as you want to. You can actually work on it for 15 or 20 minutes and get everything. Or you can kind of leave it depending on the size of the animal. You can bone out this meat right in here. It's really good for burger. It's good soft meat. There's actually an outside piece. And then when you get to the rib meat, if your animal hasn't been shot in the gut area, you can take your knife, run it into between the ribs, and they will all trim out. And you can save that meat. There might be a pound in this animal, but it's good, tender meat. And that will wind up looking just like this side here, all the way down. And then your neck meat. But this one, since it was shot in the neck area, we're going to toss that meat. Only save what you believe to look to be good, fresh meat. Anytime you find something that's undesirable, it's best just to get rid of it.
Now, Sam, it always amazes me when you're done with one of these. There's no waste. It's unbelievable. Everything is utilized. That's just an empty shell, and you've taken everything out that you possibly can.
Clean as could be.
Let's step over here and show us how to butterfly something.
Okay. Okay, real quick, we're going to show you how to butterfly this piece of meat. This is the sirloin tip, and any of the pieces of meat you have here can be done the same way, but it's actually very simple. We butterfly to make it a bigger piece of meat, so it's not something real small for the grill. But cut it about, inch, 3/4 of an inch, whatever you want, ½ inch. Go about almost the way through, step over, and then go all the way through, and just lay it open. And then this way, what you'll wind up with something out of a small piece of meat will be more like a large steak. And then you can just open them up, and that's what you wind up with. Nice wide piece of meat. And I'm doing all this with just regular freezer paper, Scotch tape. You can use freezer tape if you want. It's a little more expensive. And some freezer bags from Glad. And all that is all you need. You need also a marker, maybe for marking your bags. But actually, everything we use here can be either purchased at the grocery store, or a lot of people actually already have it in their own home. And that freezer paper will actually keep a deer fresh for up to a year. I've had some in my own freezer that has lasted up to about a year, year and a quarter. But after that, it does start to dry out a little bit. And that's out of one of your sirloin tips. Now the nice thing is, off of a large deer, of course, that would be about doubled, but you cut the pieces a lot thicker.
Sam, thanks again for coming out and showing us how to do this. So many people have asked me to have somebody on to show them how to bone a deer out. Great process. Your meat ends up tasting so good. Do you have any more tips before we...
Well, one thing, a lot of people are worried about meat saws. The only thing you need to do is remove the front legs after you skin them, and we use regular hacksaw. This is a very cheap device, $3 or $4. You don't need to be buying a $60 hacksaw or a meat saw. And keep it simple. That's the important thing to remember. Keep it simple, have fun with it, and feel good about what you've done.
Well, thanks again, Sam, and I'll tell you what, let's take some of this stuff, wrap it up and put it in the freezer, and then let's take a few and put it on the grill.
That sounds like a good idea to me.
Appreciate it, man.